copy engages the imagination of the person reading it, and we let them, and this has to do with intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. And so good copy allows the person's imagination to take hold, and it allows them to come to the decision that, hey, listen, or the realization that, hey, I'm making this decision of my own accord. This person's not trying to convince me with facts or persuade me or force me into a decision. I'm Ken Newhouse. To me, building a profitable business isn't only about generating leads and driving sales. It's about who we are and what we're made of. I succeed in business by finding the most effective client attraction methods and find the most effective client attraction methods to succeed in business. Join us on the quest as we search for the newest and most effective methods you can use to get clients now. Hey everybody, Ken Newhouse here, and I want to welcome you to episode number 361 of the Get Clients Now podcast. And hopefully you like the new intro that I've done. Thought it was just time for a change. We've had phenomenal growth over the last 2 months. I don't know if it's because of the coronavirus. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because more of you guys are at home, more time to listen. I'm not sure. But the number of downloads we've been getting has literally exploded. There was a brief window of time, about 3 or 4 days, where the downloads actually went down about 20%. Not sure why that happened. But, we put some new show art on the show, changed the description slightly. But more importantly, I thought it was time to change up, kind of refresh the intro to the show, maybe make it a little more fun. And so hopefully you like that. Hopefully you enjoy the new format of the show. Things are changing. And I say things are changing because, as I mentioned, we're getting more downloads. And I think we're getting more downloads because we've actually been changing. I've been working really hard on changing the format of the show, the way we interview our guests. In fact, the quality of guests that we've had on the show has never been better. We've had some significant superstars on this show. And I have to tell you, the number of people that I've actually already interviewed, world-class experts, people that I probably, if you'd asked me this a year ago, I would have said there's probably not much of a chance of me getting these people on the show. Well, I've already interviewed them, and I'm really excited about that. And those interviews are going to be coming down the pike here very, very quickly. But anyway, today, what are we talking about today? Well, whether you're selling consulting or professional services, or if you're simply a business owner that's hoping to boost a marketing campaign, listen, you can improve your website's existing conversion rate by an average of 113%, even more. And you can do that with the power of conversion copy. Really good copy that's designed, the words on your website, we're talking about words here, that's designed to actually get people to either opt in, pick up the phone and call your office, buy what you're selling on your website, call for that appointment, and become your client, your customer, your patient. Come into your office, come into that first interaction with you, that first meeting, predisposed to want to buy what you're selling. That's the power of good copy. Now, considering the amount of content that marketers are actually putting out there, considering the investment that goes into that, that is enormous. You can invest an enormous amount of money on the content that you put out. Not only in the money you put into it, but the time investment. And remember, we can always get more clients. We can always make more money, but we can never get more time. And so there's an enormous investment of time in all this content marketing that we're doing as well. And, the question begs, how good is your return on investment? Are you getting a return for all of that work, for all that money that you're putting into that content that you're throwing out there online? And so you have to ask that question. You get all these people coming to your website and they're not converting at the level you'd like. So you have to ask these questions. And one of the most important questions in all this you can ask is, listen, how many of the people that actually get to my website? So let's imagine for a second that your content is doing its job. It's doing the heavy lifting and getting people to your website. So let me ask you this question. Is your website converting visitors into paying clients, customers, and patients? And if it's not, I think it's time that you take a really good look, a strong look at the copy that's on your website. Because number one, persuasive copy, great copy, powerful copy that actually converts prospects into people who give you money really boils down to understanding how to trigger the right emotions in the minds of your perfect prospects, the people that are landing on your website. Great, powerful copy triggers an emotional reaction, actually gets past that sales prevention firewall that all of us have built into our DNA and gets people, number one, to opt in, buy what you're selling on your website, pick up the phone and call your office, or come into the meeting with you predisposed to giving you money. That's what great, powerful, persuasive conversion copy does. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking with Amy Remark. Amy's a conversion copywriter. She's also the lead copywriting master at Remarkable Copywriting. And on today's episode, Amy's going to reveal 5 proven copywriting strategies that are going to help you increase conversions, help you drive sales, and help you make your business a lot more profitable. And when you can do that with less effort by working less, it becomes easier. It's a lot more appealing to be in business when you can make more money and not work as hard doing it. And so if you're like me and if you're like my most successful clients and members, I know you're absolutely going to love today's show. So if you're ready, let's roll. Hey everybody, Ken Newhouse here on this episode of the Get Clients Now podcast. And I got a really special guest today. I've got Amy Remark of Remarkable Copywriting. So Amy, I've gone through your bio. It's actually a pretty amazing bio. So on behalf of myself and the members of the Get Clients Now Nation, I want to welcome you to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
You're quite welcome. Listen, you and I talked a couple times. I am totally stoked about today's show because like you, I am a direct response marketer, direct response copywriting, and I understand the power. I understand how necessary writing killer copy is, effective copy is for the success and profitability of a business. So that's what we're going to talk about. What I want to do first is I want to ask you a couple questions that I ask every single guest that we have on the show, and it gives the members of the nation just kind of a feel for the person, where they came from, where they are now, and things like that. So, and by the way, the name of your business is Remarkable Copywriting, and your website is it amyremark.com?
Yep. You will find me at amyremark.com and remarkablecopywriting.com. They'll both get you there.
Sweet. Okay. And so let's do this. Just take a minute or two if you could. This is totally chill. You and I are just kicking back, having a conversation. We're going to talk about some information today that's going to help people dramatically improve the success and profitability of not only their website, but like their email copy, their landing page copy, social media posts they may write. This is relevant across the board, and it is one of the most overlooked and underutilized skill sets. And some people, you just won't have this skill set, and that's why people like Amy and like myself exist. But as far as copywriters go, I would say that Amy is probably one of the most overlooked superstars in the copywriting world that can help make you more money that I've come across. So with that, Amy, take a minute or two, give us a little bit of your backstory. How'd you get where you are now? How did you become one of the most sought after copywriters around?
I sometimes refer to myself as a poster child for Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I have done a lot of things in my life. I have a pretty broad experience. A lot of it involved writing. A lot of it didn't. But throughout my life, I've always loved writing. It's always come very naturally to me. And about 10 years ago, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I started a cleaning company and I ran that for 6 years. And in that time, I did a ton of writing, obviously for my business. And I was able to grow that to a big enough, profitable enough business that I could sell it and pursue my love of writing and combine that love of writing with business.
If you're like most business owners, you've got a website. In fact, there's a good chance you've invested a decent amount of money in that website. It's got lots of great graphics, cool images, and the layout looks inviting. But something about your website doesn't feel quite right. It's getting traffic, maybe lots of traffic, but it's not producing new clients for you. The prospects that get to your website are not opting in. They're not calling, they're not scheduling, and most importantly, they're leaving your website without giving you money.
So that is what's brought me now to copywriting. And I tend to jump into everything that I do with 2 feet. I go full in. I devour as much information as I can. I learn everything. And I almost immediately came across Joanna Wiebe, Copy Hackers. She actually invented conversion copywriting. And so I got myself certified through Copy Hackers. And it's been an evolution since then.
Guys, if you don't know, Copy Hackers is a really cool site. Lots and lots and lots of really effective, actionable information that you can pull off that website. It's a great website. A lot of contributors they have on the website. You can learn all types of tweaks and hacks and tricks as far as your writing style goes. But it definitely, Amy, it sounds like to me that you have the sickness just like I do. My story's a little different, and I'll just say this. In high school, I was probably like the worst student. I didn't read, I didn't write. My writing skills were terrible. But what we're talking about, guys, today, I just want to just throw this in, and Amy, I'll get your 2 cents on this as well. We're not talking about writing skills or writing styles that your English teacher would say, hey, 2 thumbs up. This is beautiful prose. We're not talking about that. We're talking about conversion copywriting. So let's do this. Let me ask you this question, and then I want to come back to that. And I want you to tell us what conversion copywriting is so people can really sink their teeth into this. As far as your success, you just mentioned the gal from Copy Hackers, but was there anyone along the way that really inspired you other than her, or was it just her to become a conversion copywriter? Was there was there a circumstance, or was it just, your interaction with that lady? And if so, if it was her, how did you come across her?
Yeah, it was, I would say, I attribute it solely to Joanna Wiebe. I was pursuing copywriting just as a writer, so more of a generalist. And I have a love of business. I love studying psychology and human behavior. So when I learned about conversion copywriting, it just was a natural fit for me. There's no right or wrong. It's not a subjective style of writing. And I like that it's very science-based. And I'll just also let your audience know that I almost failed first year English in university. So you're right in saying that it's not creative writing. It's just not a general type of writing. It's it's based on a proprietary system.
This doesn't make sense. You've got a great looking website, but in spite of the traffic you're getting, it's not generating business for you. At this point, most people start looking at their competitors' websites, and that's when the reality of the situation hits you like a ton of bricks. The most successful businesses in your niche have websites that don't look half as nice as yours. But what you discover next leaves you shocked and speechless. Their websites are not only getting traffic, their websites are converting prospects into paying clients. Lots of them, and they're doing it consistently. The problem for you at this point is that you haven't figured out why your competitors' websites are generating piles of profit and yours continues to fall flat.
It's based on understanding human behavior. Its sole purpose is to sell, and it's emotionally engaging, and it's very research-backed. So it's not just made up. It's not a guess. It's based on actual science.
Let me ask you a quick question before we dive back into a few more questions about conversion copywriting. My favorite book, as far as business books, is Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. Now, do you have that book? Because I literally took that book and I retyped it. I didn't rewrite it. This is one of the things that copywriters do. I don't know if you have this level of illness like I do or not, but I rewrite old sales letters by hand. Have you read that book? I
have not. No, it's a tough book to get your hands on.
It is a tough book, and I just mentioned this a couple weeks ago. $250 to $750 you're going to pay for the book, a used copy on Amazon. But here's what I'm going to do, as long as you don't turn me in and get me in trouble. I'm going to actually send you, there are a few typos in there. I didn't bother to correct them, but I'll send you the Word document that has Breakthrough Advertising, my retype of it on there. And so I think it's 200 pages I typed, but I tell you what, that guy's a genius. He's a genius. So let's do this. Let's talk about conversion copywriting, and then we're going to dig into the meat of this subject because this is something that can really, really turn a business around. Consider this question. Why do you have a website for your business? Is it to get people to give you likes on social media? Is it to make people aware of the existence of your business? Or getting right down to it, is that website of yours supposed to function as a consistent profit generator for your business? 99.9% of business owners have a website with the expectation that it's going to function as a consistent profit generator. So maybe it's time to demand that your website functions as an investment and no longer as an expense. If you look at somebody's website, the email they're sending out, in most instances, for all intents and purposes, the copy, the words that people use in their marketing, the words they use on their email, their campaigns, their website is pathetic, and it doesn't do anything to get people to buy what you're selling. And remember, we're in business, and Amy, I'm sure you'd agree, we're in business, and I learned this from Dan Kennedy a long time ago. We're in business to make a profit on purpose. This show is not for nonprofits, even though there are people with nonprofits who listen. But the job of your copy is to sell stuff, to get people to pick up the phone and call you and schedule an appointment or to buy from your website or whatever it is. That's the job of copy if you're in business. give us a little bit of a breakdown, maybe a comparison. This is what conversion copywriting is. This is why it's this way versus most of the lame copy that we see on, the typical average business owner or dentist or chiropractor or even a consultant's website. It's just lame copy.
Yeah. So most of the copy that I come across online is very me focused. A lot of people tend to say, things like, we are passionate about what we do, or we have been in business for 25 years. We've been fixing teeth for 30 years in the whatever area.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Who cares? So if everyone went in and said, change the we to you are our number one priority. And, really good copy focuses on the reader. It's based on how your readers think and talk and what their pains are. And its sole purpose, like you said, is to get people to pick up the phone, book a call, buy whatever it is you're trying to sell. And so it has a very specific purpose. And again, like I said, whatever that purpose is, and it's all based on research. And so I find a lot of people have a tendency just to focus on the features and benefits. And I've noticed lately there's a trend with websites where I don't know I'm a total nerd. I'll spend time online just looking at people's websites. I'm not quite as psychotic as you. I don't rewrite things, but I do. I do like to look and see what's out there and see what people are doing. And I'm noticing this trend where it's, people have the hero section is the very first top part of your website.
Yeah, above the fold, right.
Above the fold that everyone sees. And so it's a very we-focused statement there.
One of the most successful clients I've worked with over the last several years, Mary's a cosmetic dentist, by the way, recognized that her website wasn't pulling its weight. She realized that as pretty and as well laid out as it was, her website wasn't bringing in new patients. That's when Mary made the decision to hire a professional to redo her entire website. Employees and family members questioned her decision. Peers even criticized her when they realized that her new website didn't look like theirs, didn't meet their quote-unquote professional standards. But Mary didn't listen to the critics. She realized that the copy on her website that had been talking about herself, talking about her qualifications, her awards, her accomplishments, was a huge mistake. So Mary pushed forward with a new website, a website that was focused on speaking directly to the desires of her target prospects, as well as solutions that would quench their appetite. She abandoned the self-aggrandizing copy. Her new website focused specifically on copy that converts.
And then just below that, I'm noticing this 3-column trend where it's like before you've even let your readers know what you're about or, how you're there to serve them. It's like, read our 3,000 word article, attend our event. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're not warming people up to you and letting them understand how it is that you're going to help their life get better. I find that a lot of websites are almost narcissistic in a way, where people think, oh, we got to put this up here so we can talk about ourselves.
Yeah, that's the minimum level of entry. And what most people just simply don't understand is that prospects are going to look at you and they're going to expect that you are superior amongst all of your competitors. That's what their expectation is of everyone is. So for you to say, hey, listen, I've been in business for 30 years. We're super awesome at this, and you're thumping your chest. Well, they're already assuming that. And if they thought for a second that you weren't that, or the moment they realize that you are not those things, they're gone. And so to waste their time by telling them the obvious, in fact, hopefully that it's true, is a huge, huge mistake. And so conversion copywriting, literally, if I'm understanding this correctly, Amy, is listen, your copy on your website wants to grab the visitor by the lapels and say, hey, listen, I got exactly what you're looking for right here. You want to pay attention to this. And that's what it does.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a dentist saying, we take your teeth seriously. Well, I hope so, because that's the only thing I'm going to see you for is my oral health. And, imagine if a dentist actually made people feel like they care about them and they understand them. For me, going to the dentist is terrifying. I avoid it at all costs.
About half people that go to the dentist they named the condition. It's called dental fear. I actually had one bad experience with Dr. Moorkamp, my first, going to the dentist. The guy didn't wear a face mask. He had long nasal hair, hairy back hair coming out the back of his scrubs and the top. So that should have jaded me for life. And, cigarette smell in his breath. It was just a horrifying experience as a child. But I work with dentists. We worked with dentists now for a long time. And half the people that come in are terrified to go to the dentist. And so you could be speaking about on your website, like you mentioned, hey, listen, we understand that you might be apprehensive about coming in. Great place for social proof videos. Testimonials of Mary saying, hey, you know what? I used to be terrified to go to the dentist, but now I'm going to my dentist, Amy Remark. Been coming to her. She's never hurt me. It's always been a pleasant, delightful experience. I'll never be afraid to go to the dentist again, as long as it's Dr. Amy. Something like that, but writing copy like that. So that's a great point that you bring up. How's this different? How's conversion copywriting? Give us a couple, 2 or 3 bullet points. How's it different from traditional? And when I say traditional, I don't mean effective. Let's not get those two confused. Or typical. It is typical. The typical copy on a website. How's conversion copywriting? What would be an example, maybe, if you could think of something where 2 different websites, conversion versus non?
Yeah, so it's kind of what we've been talking about, where people think that there's an industry standard, like if we could take doctors, lawyers, dentists, people in these kind of more traditional roles where they think, oh, make me a website like those other dentists, without knowing that those websites probably aren't working. So, speaking more to their readers. So a conversion copy focused website it focuses on the person who's actually reading the website. Like we talked about, it taps into their fear. So imagine if a dentist did say, hey, we get that going to the dentist is scary. And so we've done everything that we can to make this an easy, even though we know you're afraid and you're uncomfortable, we're here to do our best to make sure that this is a nice and pleasant experience for you. I'm like you, I've had the horror visit before too, and I've never quite got over it.
You're not alone. You're not alone. So let me ask you this. We're speaking about dentists, but this is across the board. I don't care what business or industry you're in. One of the things that I see that is a huge, huge, huge mistake is having a website that's a canned website. So you got the same stock images as everybody else. Essentially, the verbiage is underwhelming. It's uninspiring. It's not riveting. How do aesthetics, though? We don't want to ignore the fact that you need to use images on the website. So what's the relationship between good conversion copy versus having on your website versus having, pretty pictures or relevant pictures? Is there a comparison? And let me qualify this. Is copy in your mind just as important, not as important, or more important in most instances? And obviously this cannot be a universal application, but in most instances, not as important, just as important, or more important to selling stuff versus having, the aesthetics, the pictures and the layout and things like that. Obviously, layout is important. The onboarding experience is important, but like just pictures, the aesthetic appeal.
Yeah. So the best websites are the ones that consider both. So you can have the most amazing state-of-the-art website, user experience, great. But if the words aren't there, it doesn't matter. It's going to fall flat. Because as soon as people look past the pretty pictures and start actually reading the copy, you're going to lose them.
Not only did Mary's employees give her a hard time about changing the look and feel of her quote-unquote professional website, but her sanctimonious employees argued that using copy that converts, copy that actually sells people on the idea of scheduling an appointment, copy that actually works on the mind of your prospects so that they're predisposed to saying yes and giving you money, was somehow unprofessional. To make matters worse, Mary's family, her dad and brothers, were also dentists, and they didn't like her new website either. Her choice to go with a website that used conversion copy on it wasn't without its challenges. 30 days after the website was up and running, her phone still wasn't ringing, and that drew even more fire from the enemy. But something about the new website was different. Prospects were requesting information. They were giving their email and contact information, which never happened on the old website. Mary was quickly beginning to doubt her choice, but then something interesting started to happen. the phone started ringing in the office. Calls from new patients started coming in, slow at first, but within 90 days, she was getting 2 to 3 new patient calls per day. And they were calling as a direct result of the copy they had read on the new website.
I've had experiences where I've written copy for people and they put it on a terrible website. And so again, it's like people are going to get to your website and think they may not even read because they can't get past how hideous it is. So the best websites are ones where you consider both. Because they really do, and a really good web designer is also someone who understands how conversion, I think that they have a really good understanding of conversion copywriting and they know how to lay it out well so that the design basically is to enhance the word.
Okay. So can you take, and this is a question that I didn't, discuss with you before. It's just one that comes to mind. When you have a prospect that comes to you and they're like, hey, listen, I already have a website, so we don't necessarily have to rebuild my website. Can you go through my copy? Is there a process you can do where you can look at my website and evaluate my copy and kind of, I don't know if audit is the correct word, but is there a process set up for that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I do my best to avoid audits because I like to start from scratch. Doing an audit if it's just minor tweaks, like move a button here, add a button there.
No. I didn't ask that question correctly. That's my mistake. Let me re-ask that question. Here's an example. Pretend that I came to you and I said, Amy, I want to make the copy on my website better. I want you to look it over. And if I need to improve my copy so that I can sell more stuff, can you help me do that? Is there a process? Is that something you do? Or do you have to build their entire website?
Oh, sure. Okay. So you're asking me if I could rewrite their website and then we could squish it into a pre-existing design.
Yes.
It really depends on the design. If it's a well-designed website and I think that I can write effective copy that we can fit into what already exists,
makes sense.
I'll consider it. Yeah. Most of the time, everything needs to be redone.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because the word should always come first.
Absolutely. And you build everything around them. Ravi Zacharias, he's an apologist, but I listened to an episode he had a couple weeks ago, and he actually said something that really resonated with me. Everybody has heard, a picture is worth 1,000 words. But then he gave a description. He gave a couple different ones, but the one that stuck out in my mind is he was talking, and this was a piece of literature that he read from the 1800s. And it said something to the effect of, a rather bulbous woman floated across the room and blah, 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 blah. And so he said, try to put that in a picture. Try to have a picture describe that. And he said words, if you're a wordsmith, you can actually, it's even more powerful. And the reason that copy, in his estimation and mine, and I'm sure Amy, you would agree with this, is that copy engages the imagination of the person reading it. And we let them, and this has to do with intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. And so good copy allows the person's imagination to take hold, and it allows them to come to the decision that, hey, listen, or the realization that, hey, I'm making this decision of my own accord. This person's not trying to convince me with facts or persuade me or force me into a decision. In my estimation, really well-written copy, conversion copy or direct response copy, actually is more effective than a picture because of the fact that we're engaging the imagination of the person reading it, opening their mind up to all the possibilities and letting them paint that imagery in their mind versus just giving them one picture where everybody sees the same thing. Because everybody's imagination is different. Everybody's expectations are different. Everybody's desires are different. And so just a picture kind of limits that possibility, whereas really compelling copy can appeal to different people. And the imagery they see is going to be different based on their life experiences and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting that you say that because I actually did a video on this about pictures versus words and how pictures, sure, they are effective and they can be emotionally engaging. Art is very subjective and it can make a person laugh, cry, feel angry. But words, the right words to the right audience will help that person feel like they're understood and help them see the transformation that they can experience or whatever the goal is that we're trying to get.
Today, Mary's practice has been transformed. Not only is her practice busier than ever, but the quality of her new patients has improved and her practice is a lot more profitable. Employees are now on board with the new website, and they've even recommended that she incorporate the quote-unquote new copy strategy into their brochures, phone scripts, and patient interactions in the office. Mary has learned that while having a well-laid-out website that is visually appealing is important, it's even more important to have compelling copy that converts prospects into paying patients, clients, and customers.
Out of that particular copy. So if you're a coach and you help people have, transformations in their business, if you're a dog trainer and, you have a problem dog and you've explored everything and you're lost, and you hit this dog trainer's website and suddenly they're saying everything you're reading, going, yes, 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 you have, an autoimmune disease and you land on a health practitioner's website and you suddenly for the first time feel like someone understands you and gets you and wants to help you and has a solution for you. So that's the power of conversion copy.
That's awesome because that's what good copywriting is that you want to write really effective copy. And Amy's hit the nail on that here. Your copy should actually make your prospect feel like you can describe their problem and what they're going through better than they can. And the moment you can do that with your copy, as long as you have a really awesome product or service to sell, which I have to make the assumption that you do because you're listening to this show, there is no limit to how much money you're going to make. It's just going to explode. And so having compelling copy is critical. Amy, what are some of the uses of conversion copy? We talk about website, but what are some of the other areas where we can utilize this methodology?
Yeah, conversion copy can be used everywhere. Social media, sales pages, landing pages. Landing pages are huge. I often like to click on ads just to see where they take me. And they quite often don't match. And I get on the landing page and it's just a bunch of features. Conversion copy can be used anywhere. Anyone who owns a business can use conversion copy. Blog posts can have a conversion focus. They don't have to, but they can. Especially if you want to have a call to action at the bottom.
Well, I think they should. I mean, if we stop and think that everybody's in business that's listening to this podcast, your blog post should have conversion elements in it. And that would be, hey, read the next blog post. Hey, leave a comment below. Hey, follow me on social media. A conversion always doesn't lead to a sale. Ultimately, you're in business to make a profit on purpose. So Amy's exactly right. The element of conversion in your copy should be there in everything that you do. Even if you're just writing a piece of content to deliver value, like, hey, here's how you can do X, Y, and Z to, do whatever. Get more of your mail delivered, or get more people to come to your website, or get more people to listen to your podcast, or get more people to buy what you're selling, whatever. You don't have to sell like a product or service in there, but you can still sell them on the idea of, hey, why don't you share this on social media? Leave a comment below. There's a million different ways to convert somebody into an action.
Yeah, I see so many businesses just, putting stuff out there like, hey, you should do this, or hey, you should call us, without giving their readers a reason. And it's like you said, if you want to grow your business and you want to sell, we're all here. If you think, my business is doing good enough, why not make it better? Add some conversion copy in there.
More money is always nice. Most people translate making more money with more work. And this is a process that is about making you more money with a lot less effort. I mean, having people read your copy, good conversion copy, and tell me if I'm wrong, Amy. Now your prospects, if you're selling, as an example, you got a brick and mortar business and what if you got to sell people face to face, or like we're doing now on video call or whatever. You just got to engage with people and talk to them to finish the sale. You can have people predisposed to saying yes before you get there if you got good copy, versus you trying to convince them and persuade them during your sales presentation. Let the copy do the heavy lifting for you. That's what it's there for.
No, you're 100%. I get on calls with people. They've been to my website or they've read, stuff that I put out there, and they're on the call with me because they're already sold on me. They like what I had to say. And that's the other awesome thing about really good conversion copy is it's going to repel the wrong people as well. So you won't be putting that effort out there too, trying to convince the wrong people to buy your stuff. So you're going to attract the right people, repel the wrong people.
The one asset you cannot, the one commodity, whatever you want to call it, the one thing in life you can never get more of. We can always make more money. That's easy. Okay. We can always get more clients, customers, or patients. That's easy. We can never get more time. And the worst experience is to find that you're sitting in front of a prospect who is utterly unqualified to be with you. It's an utter waste of your time. In fact, you should build, like Amy said, build into your system, your copy, that's where it starts, a firewall that literally repels people. If you upset, you're not intentionally trying to offend people, but if you upset them or offend them or repel them, who cares? You don't want them involved in your business, period. End of story. That's what good copy does. But what's the one question today that I didn't ask, but I should have asked you?
Oh, that is a great question. You just threw me off guard here.
That's the response 9 out of 10 people give. So if that's fine, if you can't think of anything, because we've covered quite a bit of stuff, what about people who are listening to this and like, you know what? I think my website could do better. I need better copy on my website. I need my email, because I know like pretty much everybody has emails they send out and their emails are garbage and it's not producing the results they want. How do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, if you want to head to my website, amyremark.com/contact. I have got a few questions that I always ask. It's that pre-qualifying thing before we hop on a call. And yeah, that's the best way to reach me. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. It's just my name on LinkedIn if you want to head there. I post lots of videos.
What about the one page you created for the listeners of today's show?
Yeah, so I created something special for your listeners. It's amyremark.com/get more clients now. So I am offering a one-page website audit for $250. So you can send me a link to any page on your website that you want me to audit. I'll create a Loom video with some feedback, and I'll send it to you, and you can make some with some really good immediate and actionable things that you can do to improve your page.
Well, Amy, listen, I appreciate you being on the show. Definitely, guys, this is a topic that most people overlook, but I couldn't think of something that would make a more dramatic and immediate difference, improvement, not only in the number of people that call you to book an appointment to see you or buy your stuff, but you're literally going to have people, it will transform your prospects so that if you're selling face-to-face, whether you like the word sale or not, let's say you're a dentist, you're going to have patients that start coming in that are ready to start care with you or much more predisposed to say yes if you've got good conversion-based copy on your website versus the garbage that most of us have right now. Whether you're a dentist, chiropractor, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a consultant, your copy could always look better. And I think this is a good opportunity for you guys. $250, Amy, I think that's too inexpensive given your credentials. But having said that, I'll just accept your generosity and we'll run with that. But thanks for doing the show today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Our objective with this podcast is to help you and your business stand out in the marketplace by crystallizing your messaging, marketing, and communications. On behalf of the whole Kin Newhouse team, thanks for listening.